In the vast emptiness of space between the spiraling arms of the Milky Way, the human exploration vessel *Herald** drifted near the uncharted system of Delphini. Captain Mark Larson, a seasoned pilot and commander, peered at the star-studded void from the command bridge. "Anything on the scopes, Lieutenant Daniels?" Mark asked, his voice calm yet carrying an undercurrent of anticipation. Daniels, a young and eager officer, adjusted the sensors before replying. "No, sir, it's quiet. Wait, hold on." His fingers flew over the console, enhancing the signal. "I've got something. It's big, moving towards us at a high velocity. Definitely not a comet. Sound general quarters, and get Dr. Jeremy Haynes up here. I need eyes on this now," Mark ordered. Within minutes, the bridge buzzed with activity. Dr. Haynes, the ship's lead scientist, joined Mark at the main viewport. The object, now visible to the naked eye, was a ship of monumental proportions, its design unlike anything humanity had crafted. As the alien vessel approached, a deep, resonant voice filled the Herald's communication channel. "Human craft, this is the dominance of the Jelk Federation. You are in a sector under our protection. Identify yourselves and state your purpose." Mark took a deep breath, stepping up to the communication panel. "This is Captain Mark Larson of the Earth vessel *Herald*. We are on a peaceful exploration mission. We mean no intrusion and seek only knowledge." There was a pause before the voice returned. "Your technology is primitive. Why should the Jelk Federation regard you as anything but inferior?" Before Mark could form a reply, Dr. Haynes whispered, "Let's show them some humility, maybe appeal to their ego." Mark nodded subtly and responded, "We acknowledge the superiority of your technology and wish to learn from your vast experience. We invite you to share your knowledge, that we might better understand the broader cosmos." Another silence followed, longer this time. When the Jelk spoke again, their tone had shifted subtly. "Very well, Captain Larson. We will board your vessel for inspection. Prepare to receive our delegation." The bridge crew exchanged nervous glances as the massive alien ship maneuvered closer. The airlock chimed, and the doors slid open to reveal 3 Jelk beings. They towered over the humans, their exoskeletons clicking softly as they moved. Captain Larson stepped forward, extending a hand in a gesture of peace. "Welcome aboard the *Herald*. I am Captain Mark Larson." The lead Zelk, who introduced himself as Commander Tiselk, regarded the hand with a tilt of his head before bypassing it to scan the room with a handheld device. "Your reliance on projectile weapons is noted, inefficient and crude by our standards." Mark smiled tightly, masking his irritation. "They have served us well enough. Perhaps you have alternatives that could be of use to us?" Commander Tiselk emitted a low rumble, which Mark took for laughter. "Indeed we do. But why would such advanced technology be wasted on such a nascent species?" Dr. Haynes, ever the diplomat, interjected, "Perhaps because every advanced species knows the value of mutual respect and cooperation." Tiselk paused, then clicked his mandibles. "We shall see, human. We shall see." As the aliens toured the *Herald*, Mark and his crew demonstrated their operations, from navigation to engineering. Despite the Jelk's condescending demeanor, the humans maintained a facade of cordiality, hoping to glean any knowledge they could from these powerful strangers. After the tour, as the Jelk delegation prepared to leave, Tiselk turned to Mark. "Your species may yet prove interesting, Captain Larson. We will observe your progress with curiosity." Watching the Jelk return to their ship, Mark felt a mix of relief and foreboding. "Dr. Haynes, keep an eye on them. I have a feeling this is just the beginning." "Agreed, Captain," Jeremy replied. "There's much to learn, and not all of it will be pleasant." As the alien ship departed, Mark stared into the depths of space, aware that the encounter had changed the course of human history. Now, more than ever, humanity needed to rise to the challenge. The cavernous halls of the Interstellar Council Chamber were filled with representatives from numerous star systems, a colorful spectrum of beings from across the galaxy. The chamber buzzed with alien dialects and the subtle movements of various life forms. In the center of this galaxy of diversity, the human delegation, led by Captain Mark Larson, felt starkly plain in their navy blue uniforms. As the session commenced, the Jelk delegation took the floor. Their spokesperson, a high-ranking official named Vizier, stood out with his iridescent exoskeleton reflecting the chamber's light. He addressed the assembly with a tone of unmistakable condescension. "Ladies, gentlemen, and beings of esteemed cultures, Vizier began, his voice echoing through the translators embedded in the chamber walls. Today we bring before you a matter of security concerning the emergent species, humans. He paused, allowing a holographic display to materialize above the floor. It showed various clips of Earth's military exercises, highlighting tanks, jets, and soldiers firing ballistic weapons. A murmur ran through the crowd as the primitive nature of human warfare became apparent. Vizier continued, "As you can see, the human race relies on antiquated technology that is not only inefficient but also hazardous in a cosmos that has long moved past such barbarity. Their so-called weapons are as dangerous to themselves as they are to their enemies." Captain Larson stood up, his face set in a stern expression. "If I may," he interjected, waiting for a nod from the Council's president before proceeding. "Our technology has indeed been developed under different circumstances than many of yours. Yet, it is effective for our needs and is being developed responsibly, with an acute awareness of our broader responsibilities to galactic peace." A ripple of laughter spread among some of the alien delegates. Vizier smiled thinly. "Is it responsible to cling to destructive methods when the rest of us have evolved towards more precise and controlled means? We invite Earth to abandon their primitive arms and seek assistance from the Jelk Federation to adopt superior technology." The proposal was a thinly veiled attempt to place Earth under Jelk control, and Larson was acutely aware of the trap. "We appreciate the concern and the offer," he replied, keeping his voice even. "However, we believe in the strength of our independence. We will advance at our own pace, on our own terms." Vizier's eyes narrowed slightly. "Do not mistake pride for wisdom, Captain Larson. The galaxy is not always a forgiving place for naivety." As the council adjourned, the human delegation was left with a palpable sense of isolation. Outside the chamber, Larson gathered his team. "Listen, everyone," he said, his voice low but firm. "We're not just here to defend our technology, but our right to choose our path. We need to accelerate our development programs. It's not just about matching their firepower anymore. It's about preserving our sovereignty." Back on Earth, Mark's words were already setting things in motion. Dr. Jeremy Haynes, who had remained on Earth, watched the Council's proceedings through a live feed. Shaking his head at the arrogance displayed by the Jelk, he turned to his team in the lab. "We've got our work cut out for us," Jeremy stated as he pulled up designs for enhanced weaponry. "Let's prove that our primitive guns aren't just relics." His team rallied around him, fueled by a renewed sense of urgency. They understood that the stakes were higher than ever, not just technological advancement, but a battle for the respect and future of humanity in the cosmos. Back on Earth, the mood in the engineering lab of the United Earth Defense Headquarters was electric with urgency. Major Tom Hawkins, an expert in military technology and strategy, stood over the central table, littered with schematics and parts of firearms. His focus was on improving the standard-issue weapons that had been so disparagingly critiqued by the Jelk. "Okay, team," Tom addressed the group of engineers and military personnel gathered around. "Our goal isn't just to catch up, it's to leapfrog. We need these guns to do something no high-tech alien blaster can." Sergeant Claire Johnson, Tom's second-in-command, nodded, her eyes scanning the latest ballistic enhancements. "What if we integrated some of the alien tech we've got? Mix our solid projectiles with some energy components?" Tom considered the suggestion. "It's a good start. Let's prototype it. Johnson, take lead on that. I want something testable by next week." As they worked, Tom walked over to a bench where a young engineer named Alex was adjusting a targeting system. "How's it coming along, Alex?" "We're improving accuracy, but the real game changer will be range and impact. If these guns can outperform expectations, it won't just shock our friends out there," Alex replied, gesturing upward. "Exactly," Tom said. "It's not just about power. It's about reliability, adaptability, and something that works every time in every condition. Keep at it." Days turned into nights as the team tested and retested weapons in the field. They introduced enhancements like hybrid propulsion systems for bullets to increase penetration and reduce dependency on traditional propellants, and adaptive targeting systems using minimal AI. Meanwhile, the geopolitical landscape on Earth was shifting. The United Nations had evolved into a more centralized Earth Defense Authority, EDA, in response to extraterrestrial pressures. During a high-level briefing, Tom presented the new weapon systems to the EDA Council. General Martinez, head of the EDA, watched the live-fire demonstration. "Major Hawkins, it appears you've taken our primitive tech and given it a new edge." "Yes, sir," Tom responded confidently. "These weapons are more than just guns now. They're a statement. We're ready to defend our sovereignty with them." As Tom's team continued refining the weapons, reports came in of jelk activities increasing near other human outposts. It became clear that Earth might need to demonstrate its capabilities sooner than expected. The final test came under unexpected circumstances. During a field exercise, a jelk scout ship, not officially acknowledged by their fleet, appeared in orbit. It was possibly a spy or a preemptive strike scout. Tom seized the opportunity. "Let's show them what these guns can do," he ordered. The team set up a defensive position, using the enhanced weapons to lock onto the scout ship's shield frequency. When they fired, the result was better than expected. The hybrid bullets, combined with precise targeting, bypassed the jelk's shields, causing minor damage but enough to send a clear message. The scout ship retreated, broadcasting its surprise and distress. Tom watched as the alien vessel disappeared from their sensors. "Word will get back about what happened here," he mused aloud. "Let's hope it makes them think twice." Back at the lab, as the team celebrated, Tom looked at the reports streaming in from the encounter. They had managed to integrate human grit with alien technology effectively, but the real test of war loomed on the horizon. Yet this victory, however small, bolstered their resolve to protect Earth on their terms, with their technology, no matter the enemy. As tensions between Earth and the Jelk Federation simmered, Major Tom Hawkins and his team intensified their weapon enhancements, refining their designs and tactics for what seemed an inevitable conflict. The Earth Defense Authority, EDA, was on high alert, monitoring all Jelk movements near human territories. The serene silence of space was abruptly shattered when a Jelk battle group launched a sudden strike against a human mining colony on the asteroid belt of Vesta. The assault was swift and brutal, intended as a demonstration of Jelk superiority and a test of human resolve. Captain Mark Larson, overseeing the defense operations on Vesta, watched helplessly as the first wave of Jelk fighters bypassed the colony's outdated defenses. "Get everyone to the shelters. Deploy all defense units," he barked into the comms as alarms wailed in the background. Tom Hawkins, now stationed at EDA's Strategic Command, received the distress signal. His jaw clenched as he assessed the situation. "Launch the counteroffensive protocol. Use the new armaments. It's time they see what these can really do." On Vesta, the human defenders rallied, armed with the latest weapons designed by Tom's team. Sergeant Claire Johnson, leading a squad through the rocky terrain, set up ambush points. The Jelk, unfamiliar with the guerrilla warfare tactics and the rugged asteroid environment, found themselves at a disadvantage. As a Jelk squad advanced through a narrow pass, Claire gave the signal. The enhanced human weapons, boasting improved targeting and hybrid ammunition, roared to life. The first volley of shots took the Jelk by surprise, their shields failing to adapt to the unexpected technological prowess of the human firearms. "Push them back!" Claire shouted as her squad surged forward, exploiting the confusion among the alien ranks. The human weapons proved devastatingly effective, piercing the alien armor that had seemed impervious to older Earth technologies. Back at command, Tom monitored the battle's progress, noting each success and setback. "Increase support to Sector 7B. They've got a heavy unit pinned down there," he instructed, his voice calm but urgent. As the tide turned on Vesta, news of the human resistance spread. The Jelk commanders, initially dismissive of human capabilities, now faced a scenario they hadn't anticipated. Their communication channels filled with reports of unexpected casualties and equipment failures. The skirmish on Vesta lasted hours, but to those involved, it felt like days. When the Jelk finally retreated, the victory sent a wave of relief and renewed confidence through the human ranks across the solar system. In the aftermath, Captain Larson surveyed the damage to the colony, his heart heavy for the lost lives, but proud of his people's courage. He transmitted a detailed battle report back to Earth, highlighting the effectiveness of the new weapons and the valor of the defenders. Tom received the report with a mix of satisfaction and somber responsibility. "This is just the beginning," he muttered to himself. "They'll come back harder." At a strategic debriefing with the EDA, Tom laid out his next steps. "We've shown that we can defend ourselves, but the Jelk won't take this lying down. We need to prepare for a broader conflict. This was a battle, not the war." The meeting ended with a unanimous agreement to increase production of the new weapons and to intensify training programs. Tom's team was tasked with further enhancements, focusing on scalability for mass deployment. The provocation by the Jelk had ignited a full-scale arms race, with Earth now a formidable player. The humans had not only defended their territory, but had also sent a clear message: underestimate them at your peril. In the war rooms of the Earth Defense Authority, The atmosphere was charged with a mix of urgency and cautious optimism. The recent successful defense of the Vesta colony had demonstrated the effectiveness of the enhanced human weaponry against the jelk invaders. Major Tom Hawkins, the architect of the new weapon systems, was now regarded as a key figure in Earth's military strategy. Captain Mark Larson, fresh from his command duties at Vesta, joined Tom at EDA headquarters for a critical strategy session. "Tom, your weapons saved lives out there," Mark began, his voice tinged with both gratitude and exhaustion. "But we both know they'll be coming back with adjustments." Tom nodded, his expression serious. "We need to stay ahead. It's not just about refining what we have, it's about innovating further. We've seen they can adapt, and so must we." The discussion was interrupted by an urgent communication from an EDA listening post in the outer solar system. "Sir, we've detected a large Zelk fleet amassing beyond the Kuiper Belt. It looks like they're planning a major offensive." The news confirmed their worst fears. With the Zelk regrouping for a more significant assault, Earth's defenses would be truly tested. Tom and Mark, alongside EDA military strategists, quickly laid out a plan to fortify vulnerable outposts and reposition fleets to intercept the Jelk forces. As the preparations went into overdrive, Tom pushed his team to enhance the weapons further. Using data gathered from the skirmishes on Vesta, they worked tirelessly to increase the firepower and precision of the human arsenals. New prototypes of rifles and artillery that utilized a combination of kinetic and directed energy technology were soon ready for field testing. The turning point came during the Battle of Neptune's orbit. The Jelk fleet, emboldened by their supposed technological superiority, initiated a bold attack on the human defensive line. However, they were met with a barrage of the newly developed hybrid weapons that could pierce through their advanced shielding systems. In the thick of the battle, Captain Larson piloted his flagship, the Defiant Asterisk, into the heart of the conflict. With each pass, the ship's cannons, upgraded under Tom's supervision, released precise and devastating volleys against the Jelk warships. "Keep the pressure on them," Larson ordered, his voice a calm anchor amidst the chaos of war. On one of the smaller crafts, Sergeant Claire Johnson led a boarding party onto a Zelk destroyer using the confusion as cover. The close-quarters combat that ensued tested the limits of human bravery and the new weaponry. The hybrid guns, designed for maximum impact against Zelk armor, turned the tide, allowing Claire and her team to capture critical intelligence about the alien fleet's capabilities and planned maneuvers. This intelligence proved invaluable. With real-time data on enemy movements and vulnerabilities, the human forces adapted their tactics on the fly, targeting key Jelk ships and supply lines. Slowly but surely, the human forces began to push the Jelk fleet back. As the battle drew to a close, the Jelk were forced into a full retreat, their numbers significantly diminished and their morale shattered. The victory was celebrated across human-controlled space, a testament to their growing capability and resolve in the face of a superior enemy. Back at EDA headquarters, Tom and Mark reviewed the battle reports, their faces weary but satisfied. "We've shown them that we're not just survivors, we're contenders," Mark said, a proud smile breaking through his fatigue. Tom, ever the pragmatist, nodded in agreement but remained focused on the future. "This battle was in our favor, but the war isn't over. We keep improving, keep fighting. Let's make sure this victory is the turning point toward our ultimate success." The Battle of Neptune's orbit marked a new era in the war, one where humanity was no longer an underdog, but a formidable force capable of defending its place in the cosmos. After the decisive victory at Neptune's orbit, the mood among the Jelk leaders was grim. The defeat was not only a military setback, but also a blow to their perceived invulnerability and superiority. In the grand halls of the Jelk command ship, Supreme Commander Vlek convened an urgent meeting with his top advisors and strategists. "We underestimated the humans," Vlek admitted, his voice echoing with a mix of frustration and disbelief. "Their adaptability and rapid technological advancements have shifted the balance. We must reassess our position." Around him, the advisors exchanged uneasy glances, their confidence shaken. One of the senior tacticians, a veteran named Krill, stepped forward. "Commander, our intelligence failed to predict the effectiveness of their new weaponry. It seems they have successfully integrated some form of energy tech into their ballistic systems, making them far more lethal than we anticipated." Vlek's antennae twitched in irritation. "Then we must adapt. Perhaps it is time we consider learning from them instead of only focusing on domination." The suggestion hung in the air, radical and fraught with implications. The Zelk had always viewed themselves as the superior race, teachers and enforcers for lesser civilizations. To now consider learning from a species they had mocked was a bitter pill to swallow. Meanwhile on Earth, Major Tom Hawkins reviewed the latest intelligence reports detailing the disarray and retreat of the Zelk forces. The human victory had given them a much-needed respite, and Tom was determined to use this time to further enhance their defenses and offensive capabilities. In his office, Tom met with Captain Mark Larson and Sergeant Claire Johnson, who had been instrumental in the recent victory. "We've got them on the back foot, but we can't let up now. We need to be ready for whatever they throw at us next," Tom stated, his strategy clear. Mark nodded in agreement. "We should also be prepared for the possibility they might seek a ceasefire or even negotiations. Their pride is wounded, but they're not foolish." Claire, reviewing the captured Zelk tech, added, "Their technology still has a lot to teach us. If they do come asking for peace, maybe there's a way to turn that to our advantage." Back on the Zelk command ship, the mood had shifted from disbelief to a cautious curiosity. Vlek, having considered his options, decided on a course of action that few could have predicted. "Prepare a diplomatic envoy," he instructed Krill. "We will extend an offer to the humans. It's time we learn from our mistakes, and from them." The envoy arrived at Earth with messages of truce and a request for a diplomatic meeting. The Earth Defense Authority was wary but saw the potential benefits of such an engagement. Tom, skeptical but open to possibilities, was selected to meet with the Jelk representatives. The meeting took place on a neutral space station, orbiting a deserted planet. As Tom entered the negotiation room, he was met by Vlek and his advisors. The tension was palpable, but both sides acknowledged the necessity of dialogue. Vlek was the first to speak. "Major Hawkins, your people have shown great prowess and courage. We have much to learn from each other. We propose a technology exchange and a mutual defense pact." Tom listened intently, aware of the historic weight of the moment. "Commander Vlek, Earth values its sovereignty and the safety of its people above all. We're open to discussions, but our independence is non-negotiable." As the talks continued, both sides tentatively explored the terms of a potential agreement. Earth could gain access to advanced jelk technology, while the jelk could learn from the human innovations that had bested them in battle. This humbling of the once arrogant jelk marked a new chapter in interstellar relations. The negotiations would be long and complex, but for the first time, humanity stood on equal footing with one of the galaxy's most powerful races, ready to dictate their future on their own terms. In the stark metallic conference room aboard the jelk flagship, the air was thick with tension and anticipation. Major Tom Hawkins sat across from Supreme Commander Vlek, each flanked by their advisors and technical experts. The negotiations, facilitated by advanced translation technologies, were about to reshape the future relations between Earth and the Jelk Federation. Vlek opened the discussion with a formal acknowledgement of the new reality. "Major Hawkins, the recent conflicts have proven your species' capability and resolve. We believe that a partnership could be mutually beneficial, rather than continuing this costly confrontation." Tom, mindful of the strategic implications, responded carefully. "Commander Vlek, Earth is indeed interested in ensuring peace and advancing our technological capabilities. However, any agreement must respect our sovereignty and guarantee our security." The Jelk delegation presented their proposal. A detailed plan for technology exchange and cooperation in policing the volatile regions of the galaxy. In return, they requested access to the human-developed hybrid weaponry technology and a pledge of non-aggression. Tom listened intently, occasionally glancing at his team for their silent input. After a brief recess to confer privately with his advisors, including Captain Mark Larson and Sergeant Claire Johnson, Tom returned to the table with a counter-proposal. "We appreciate the spirit of your proposal, Commander. However, Earth will maintain control over our weaponry technology. We can offer instead to collaborate on defensive strategies and share insights into our propulsion and energy efficiency enhancements." Vlek's antennae twitched, a sign of his discomfort at the counteroffer. The Jelk had hoped to gain full access to the human weaponry systems that had proven effective against their technology. Nevertheless, Vlek recognized the importance of forging an alliance. "Major Hawkins, your terms are unexpectedly cautious. We hoped for more open sharing, but we understand your reservations. Let us then focus on areas where our interests align more closely." As the negotiations continued, both parties outlined areas for collaboration, including joint operations against piracy and smuggling in less secure sectors of space. research partnerships in non-weaponry technologies, and exchange programs for scientists and engineers. The talks stretched over several days, with each side carefully weighing the benefits and risks. News of the negotiations led to a mix of optimism and skepticism back on Earth. The public, having endured the fear of subjugation, now pondered the possibility of peaceful coexistence and collaboration. Finally, after intense discussions and compromises, a framework agreement was reached. Tom and Vlek signed the accord, which was broadcast across human and jelk territories, marking a historic moment of reconciliation and forward-looking cooperation. As the jelk delegation prepared to leave, Vlek approached Tom, extending a hand, a gesture he had learned from his human counterparts. "Major Hawkins, may this be the beginning of a lasting peace and prosperity for both our peoples." Tom shook his hand, a symbol of mutual respect forged in the fires of conflict. "Commander Vlek, let's both ensure that this agreement stands as a testament to what can be achieved when we choose dialogue over conflict." Returning to Earth, Tom was met with a hero's welcome, yet the real work was just beginning. Implementing the agreement would require careful management and vigilance. Earth had secured a significant victory, not just in battle but in diplomacy, crafting a future where humanity was not only a survivor, but a respected equal among the stars. After the historic signing of the agreement with the jelk, Major Tom Hawkins returned to Earth, welcomed as both a hero and a strategic genius. The world buzzed with news of the treaty, debating its implications and celebrating what many hoped would mark a new era of peace and collaboration in human history. Tom, however, carried a quiet solemnity amidst the celebrations. The war had been won, but at great cost. Lives had been lost, and the specter of future conflicts still loomed large. As he sat in his office at the Earth Defense Authority, Tom reviewed reports of the ongoing integration and cooperation efforts with the jelk. His thoughts drifted to the friends and comrades who hadn't lived to see this day. Captain Mark Larson joined him, bearing the latest updates on the joint operations outlined in the treaty. "The Zelk are holding up their end so far, Tom," Mark reported. "Joint patrols are underway, and our tech exchange program starts next month." Tom nodded, taking in the information. "It's a start, Mark, but keep a close eye on everything. Trust is earned in drops and lost in buckets." Mark smiled, understanding Tom's caution. "Always, Tom. We'll keep our guard up." In the following weeks, Tom visited various training and research facilities, overseeing the implementation of the treaty's terms. He watched young officers and engineers work alongside jelk counterparts, their initial wariness giving way to cautious respect and collaboration. Yet, he remained vigilant, aware that the alliance's stability depended on both parties' continued goodwill and adherence to the agreement. One day, while reviewing the progress at a joint research center, Tom was approached by Sergeant Claire Johnson, who now played a crucial role in overseeing the integration of jelk and human defense systems. "Major, there's something you should see," she said, leading him to a lab where a group of human and jelk scientists were engaged in a heated but friendly debate over a new energy propulsion system. Watching the exchange, Tom felt a stirring of hope. This collaboration might be the true victory, he thought. "Looks like they're getting along," he remarked. "They are," Claire replied, "and they're making progress faster than we anticipated. Maybe, just maybe, this can work." As months turned into years, the galaxy watched as Earth and the Jelk Federation not only adhered to their treaty, but also grew their partnership, setting a precedent for other species and nations. Tom, ever the strategist, never stopped planning and preparing for any possible future conflicts. But he also saw the value in the peace they had forged. At a commemoration ceremony marking the 5th anniversary of the treaty, Tom was asked to speak. Standing before a crowd of humans and jelk, he reflected on the journey. "Today, we celebrate not just a cessation of hostilities, but the beginning of understanding," Tom began. "We've learned that no species, no matter how powerful, has nothing left to learn, and that perhaps our greatest strength lies not in our weapons, but in our ability to bridge differences." The applause was thunderous, resonant with the hope of countless hearts across the galaxy. Later, alone with his thoughts, Tom looked out over the city, its skyline a testament to human resilience and innovation. The war had taught humanity many lessons, but the most enduring was that peace was not merely the absence of war, but the active, daily pursuit of better understanding and cooperation. As the sun set, casting long shadows and bathing the city in golden light, Tom felt a cautious optimism for the future. Humanity had not only survived, it had earned its place among the stars.